This is analysis of Jordn's butterfly. So one thing that we want to see Jordn do is really focus on keeping her head a little bit tucked further down. This is going to allow her, when she explodes off the blocks here, instead of only swinging her hands out and then coming down at this angle, if she is able to keep her head further down this way, she's going to have more momentum on this strong hinge of her body, okay, her hips. We want to make sure we maximize the velocity that we get out by ensuring that we snap our hips up and throw our head and arms up as well. So we can see she doesn't snap her head up, she goes right down into the water. Keeping that chin tucked a little bit and throwing those arms up is really going to increase her velocity out this way and trajectory out that way, and it's going to greatly increase the power with which she comes off the blocks as well. We can see that she picks that head up out of the streamline a little bit on the start. We want to make sure we really focus on keeping that down. Jordn can really work on some lateral shoulder flexibility. We can see here that even when her hips are high in the water, she has some difficulty getting her arms out of the water. This is not uncommon for people of her age that are young in swimming. Daily stretching and focusing on flexibility can really improve our range of motion. Additionally, we see here when Jordn takes a breath that it really forces her hips down in the water. Okay, as a result, she starts to get very vertical, and we can even see her legs start to bend up behind her. So this prevents us from maintaining our forward momentum and creates a lot of drag force for us to overcome when we're trying to move forward over the top of the water. We can see the more she breathes, the more she struggles to get her arms out of the water. Taking fewer breaths is really going to help her keep her hips higher in the water, swim with more explosiveness. She's also, as we can see, really overcompensating, trying to get her legs out of the water by bending her knees. Okay, similarly to her upper body coming through, her legs are dropping very far down below her knees, which is creating additional drag force. It's pretty good. We want to make sure when we come in on this turn that we touch evenly with two hands, which we do. When we don't want to climb up the wall, we want to make sure we keep our eyes on that one hand on the wall, drop the other hand, and bring our second hand behind our head. So here we can see she really swings out to the side. So we want to make sure that we come straight in and straight out. What we don't want to do is come in and then swing around and then back out, which is what Jordn does in this turn here. So coming straight in and straight out will really take a couple tenths off of our open turn time and improve our speed in and out of the wall, and especially increase the momentum with which we leave the wall. We see that Jordn has a little bit of an issue, especially as she gets more tired with the timing of her stroke. So we see here when she takes a breath, her hands lead her head into the water. We always want to make sure that when we're swimming butterfly, we press the T. So the T would be the cross between her shoulders and her spine. So in this case, we want to make sure she's always pressing this T down when she takes a stroke. And this is going to force her hips back up. So we can see, because she raises her T so high in the water, that it really forces her hips down and it forces her legs to bend, and as a result she has an inefficiency that really prevents her from gaining as much momentum as she has the potential to gain. Increasing our flexibility and working on our stroke timing is really going to help us stay higher in the water and finish with more power. This is underwater analysis of Jordn's butterfly. So as we can see, she picks that head right up out of the streamline. We want to see her tuck that head down so that she doesn't have this negative resistance caused by her head being out of streamline. Right now the water has to rush around her head and through her body. Jordn has a lot of strength, and she has to learn how to really utilize it by making sure she presses the T. So we can see here that her hands are entering the water before her chin drops and before her upper body hits the water as well. So what that does is it causes our hips to sink down and exposes us to a lot of negative resistance. As a result, our knees come and bend strongly as well, which also forces our hips down. We want to make sure that we don't have this negative resistance against our legs and body, and we can do that by making sure that we press the T that forms naturally between our shoulder blades and our spine with each stroke. So this T is going to force our hands through the early part of our catch, makes our first initial part of our pull easier, and it also forces our hips up and allows us to generate more power with our hips, which in turn allows us to stay higher in the water and swim with more efficiency. This is an issue that we'll see grow as she starts to get more tired towards the end of the 50. Again, on this turn, we want to make sure she leaves one hand on the wall and comes straight in and straight out. We want to see her swing to the side. We can see here that she's really keeping, at times, she doesn't bring her head back down to in line with her body position. We don't want to keep those eyes up. We want to keep them down at the bottom of the pool. Even when we take a breath, we got to keep our head in line with our spine. Otherwise, we're going to see that we expose ourselves to considerable drag forces. Instead of swimming vertically down the pool, we want to swim high in the water. Keep our body level and towards the surface of the water. If we press that T, that's going to continue to force our hips up, and we'll swim more like a seesaw, which is essential for butterfly efficiency and power.